4 phones that you can buy right now that will last you 4 years. That video's coming up right now. Let's go. So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology, and welcome to 4 phones that will last you 4 years. Now, before we reveal what they are, just keep in mind that most phones can last physically way more than 4 years if you take care of them. But these are some of the few that actually will be updated and not forgotten about in that amount of time. So the first phone that's easily going to last 4 years or better is the Apple iPhone XS, XS Max series devices. Now, let me explain a few points why I can guarantee you these phones will last. Apple A12 Bionic is a 7nm chip. Now, that's so much more advanced than many chips out there. Even some laptops don't have a CPU that powerful. And you'll see articles of many people that want to see Apple put their own chips in their laptop line just because they're so powerful, and iOS doesn't really take advantage of this. But because you got this kind of chipset and power in the XS series, you won't see it too much in the day-to-day right now. Like, you can look at an iPhone 7 right now and it'll look pretty similar in performance. But come 2, 3, 4 years down the line, when that iPhone 7 is losing a lot of battery because it's not as efficient anymore and it's not as fast anymore, the A12 is going to shine big time. So here's where it really does last. Now, next up is the strong cameras on here. You have a 4K 60p camera with a telephoto. Now, yes, triple cameras are coming to the iPhones and they're going to get better, but these cameras should last a while without disappointing too many people. And lastly, I got to say, higher RAM than usual for an iOS phone. Now, I know Android's got way more RAM, but 4 gigabytes of RAM is the most you can get right now in the iPhone series. And that stainless steel material along the edges is a super durable material. So I have no worries about that. If you do drop the back, you might be out some money on the glass, but still, that stainless steel is pretty durable. So this series of phones, the XS, while rather boring because it looks very similar to the 10, is a phone that's going to last easily 4 years. Next up is the Pixel 3a series. That goes for the 3A and the 3A XL. Let me tell you why these phones are going to go the distance. Number one is they have really good software support. So Google's going to keep these things updated as promised when they launch these things for about 3 years. Now, the thing is that I said 4 years, but because the Android updates come later in the year, you're going to be able to stretch into the 4th year with this phone. Now, also, sometimes Google throws a surprise update and gives an older phone an update anyway. And if they don't, there's plenty of developers that will have ROM support and find a way to get the latest version of Android on the Pixel. So you should be able to get it on there somehow. So definitely, this phone will go the distance in software support. Now, because it has thicker bezels, it's going to be extremely dated in design by that time. But at the same time, you have a strong display at 1080p OLED. You also do have a plastic body, which is not the most premium feeling, but it's definitely something that can last a long time because if you drop it, you don't have to worry about glass cracking and having to pay that price. You might just get a crack on the plastic somewhere, something like that, which shouldn't bother you too much. And this has really strong battery life in the Pixel 3a XL. So I definitely find the 3A series going to be phones that can go the distance. 4 years if you want to keep a phone a very long time. They will not be left behind. Next up is the Apple iPhone XR. Now, I'm going to tell you different reasons besides the XS and XS Max why this phone is going to easily last 4 years. Now, the one that is similar is, of course, the strong processor. It still has the A12, but it has less RAM than the XS series, so it might be slightly slower, maybe down the line, but it's not going to be very much at all because iOS is very efficient. However, one of the main reasons this is going to last very long is LCD screens. They're really good for the long term. So you don't have no chance of burn-in or anything like that. Also, you have the strongest battery in an iPhone right now. So longer lasting battery definitely helps in the long term of keeping your device. In addition to that, we do have the aluminum build, which is tried and true, proven to be pretty durable. You can see iPhone 6 is still out there in the wild. So definitely the tried and true aluminum is a good material here for the iPhone XR. Yes, glass on the back, so keep a case on it or you risk having to replace that. But other than that, iOS is going to be updated. The 10R definitely going to go 4 years or better. So if you are looking for an iPhone and you get a 10R right now, you're kind of already almost into the first year, but definitely should last that long or better. And my last phone, the fourth phone, is the Pixel 3, the smaller Pixel 3. Now, this should be a great companion for 4 years or better because, again, just like the Pixel 3a series, it will have that long software support for you, and that third year update can go into the fourth year. Next up, this is a very light phone, so it's very easy to live with, very compact and small device right here. Even though it has a 5.5-inch display, it's very light and compact. And lastly, this phone definitely has an amazing camera on the rear, and it has an amazing front-facing camera with wide angle. So for taking photos, it's going to serve you well for years to come. The only issue I have with the Pixel 3 is the battery life is only good enough for a day. So you might, if you're really not good at maintaining your battery, need to replace the battery at some point in your ownership. But in terms of being left behind, Google's not going to leave this phone behind. Even the original Pixels are getting the update this year to Android Q. So definitely Pixel 3 should serve you well, and this is the fourth phone that will last you 4 years or more. Now, I know there's a lot of fans of the Samsung brand here on the channel, so I'm going to talk about it just for a minute here. The Samsungs are great phones, they really are, but here's the thing, they only go about 2 years on the software updates, and then you're kind of waiting a long time. You might or might not get it on the third year, and if you do, it's going to be later than usual, and you're going to be waiting around getting pretty frustrated with how long it's taking to get that software update to you. So for going the long term, in terms of feeling like left behind, Samsung phones do this a lot. You kind of feel left behind. Now the hardware is amazing even after, a very long time. So I have no issue with the hardware, but when it comes to software and feeling left behind, after a couple of years or so, going into that third, fourth year, the Samsung phone just starts to feel left behind. So you can see that Samsung will last a long time in terms of its hardware materials, but when it comes to being left behind in software, this is why I couldn't put it in the list. So those are 4 phones that will do 4 years or better in terms of not being left behind. Now, I strongly advise you to wait if you are in the market for a new smartphone, because the Pixel 4 is coming, and that's going to definitely have great long-lasting support, and the updates to both the XS Max and 10R are coming in September, so you're almost there. So you might want to wait if you're looking for a new phone. Anyway, if you guys found this video helpful, entertaining, informing, do me a favor, click that like button for me. And which phones do you think are the best for the long term? Give us a specific model, or maybe one you've had for 4 years and you'll definitely be getting that brand again or that phone another try. Subscribe if you haven't already. Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Be sure to be well, and peace.